LS2 Thunder Carbon. FIM approved. World Championship technology. Lightweight. Aerodynamic. Outrageous margins. Visit ls2usa.com.
Hauling it to the track, blasting over it, pushing the limits, aiming for the top. You're always in it to win it, and you want to stay cool. Super Cool Boil Guard reduces engine operating temperatures by up to 20 degrees. Super Cool Performance. Superior protection against cavitation, corrosion, and erosion. Don't get beat by the heat. Visit redlineoil.com for products designed and engineered to keep you cool.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another great episode of On the Throttle with Jackie Van Ham and my buddy Josh over here, bringing you all the newest news going on out here in motorcycling and power sports. Welcome back to another great episode. We've got some great stuff to talk about today. Some news from the folks over at Triumph Motorcycles. Are they putting out a unicorn? Is it real? Is it vaporware, as Josh likes to say? And some news from Josh's favorite race, King of the Baggers, that just took place this past weekend. And what do you got going on in your neck of the woods, Josh?
So KTM had an announcement just this week about a special bike that is kind of an evolution of a current one. And then the next thing is KTM's thing is ready to race. So let's talk about racing and the most bonkers race. I mentioned it a little while ago. We have some bonkers pictures from the most bonkers race. Bonkers is a theme.
It's a whole bonkers episode coming your way, gang. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of today's show. And as always, thank you for clicking, liking, and sharing all of these videos with all of your friends that love hearing about awesome things going on out here in motorcycle land. Okay, so for today's first, I wanted to go ahead and talk about, and you're right, it is race season. I didn't want to get too deep into it on my side of the show because there's 500 million races going on, right? There's MotoGP, there's Isle of Man, there is Moto America just took place this past weekend, and then Moto America's King of the Baggers. So I figured that's what I would focus on for today. And this weekend was a great race going on up in beautiful Wisconsin. This race, however, the weather was a little up and down. It was a little back and forth, which makes for great racing, and the King of the Baggers was absolutely no exception. So for this weekend's King of the Baggers, they crowned a new champion for this weekend. This past weekend, again, it was super back and forth. It was all over the place. It is an absolute soap opera going on over there. I love it. Josh is not a huge fan, but I am all about these great big huge baggers racing and racing in the rain. Yes, please. And that's what just took place this past weekend. So this weekend, it was 1-2 for the Wyman brothers, which is their first time in the season. Travis Wyman on 1, Kyle Wyman on 2, Jeremy McWilliams, let's try that one more time, in 3rd, and Tyler O'Hara, who is absolutely a favorite for this series, down in 4, which was an absolute shocker. Just so you are aware, Travis Wyman is officially the busiest man in motorcycle racing going on over at the Moto America Ranch because he also was racing on the road racing side of things on a sport bike, and he had a great weekend over there as well. But let's go ahead and just dig a little bit deeper into this King of the Baggers. Weather caused Sunday's Mission King of the Baggers race to be moved to later in the day, and the length of the race was reduced to a 4-lap sprint, which clearly turned out to be in the favor of the Wyman brothers. Harley-Davidson's Screamin' Eagle factory rider Travis Wyman took all in his stride, immediately feeling strong out on track despite the conditions, and won his very first baggers race of his career. He bested his teammate, also his brother, Kyle Wyman, by just under 1 second, making it 2 Harleys on the podium. Doing so, Kyle had a strong qualifying but was back in 5th at one point during the race, which means he had an epic comeback in order to get to the 2nd position up on the box behind his brother. So really great racing, really exciting racing going on over at Moto America for their road racing series. Of course, all of their super bike races, but King of the Baggers was also just as exciting, and I love seeing it. I'm a huge fan of this race. I know Josh is kind of womp womp about it, but I think it's super exciting racing. So make sure you click on over and go follow those races as well if you are not already doing so. And then we have the results, and then the next slide is going to be the current standings, which again, Tyler O'Hara is an absolute favorite over there. He is currently in 1, Jeremy McWilliams in 2, Travis Wyman 3, Kyle Wyman 4, James Rispoli, who's also a super well-known name as far as road racing goes and flat track racing. He is aboard a bike as well, and he's doing very well over there. He is in 5. And that is what's going on with the Mission King of the Baggers. Josh, what do you think about this exciting racing going on over there?
So it's interesting. And me being the snarky jerk that I am, I had which article from this weekend caught my eye. And that was the one about the grid penalty and disqualification for big old baggers leaking fluids on the track. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, me being the jerk that I am, I kind of have to mention this with a snarky little smile. I get it. Racing is racing, and people will, me included, will watch two turtles race. But it just because we want to see someone win. I do get the whole reason for the King of the Bagger stuff. It's bringing more people in. It is good for Moto America. It is good for racing overall. Not my thing. And Jackie's mic turned away for a second here. So I'm going to dive into my next story here. So we have she's probably really upset because she can't give me the snarky retort to that, because that's what we do. But this week, KTM released the 2023 450 SMR. At least they released the press release and other items on this. If you are not into the Supermoto stuff, if you haven't heard about the Supermoto stuff, I've mentioned it before, but this is the type of zaniness that this is set up for. It is a dirt bike that essentially races on a go-kart sized track. You're going to get this type of lean angle. You're going to get this type of back end hanging out. And the reason why they use dirt bikes essentially is because of the fact, yes, they will do jumps and they will do dirt sections. In this, what KTM has done with these motorcycles over the past couple of years has been really good. They've taken kind of that Porsche 911 attitude to it and have done incremental changes over time rather than doing complete huge redesigns all in one big shot. What you get is something that makes constant improvements and never really takes any steps back. So with this, and when I say incremental changes, we're not talking my favorite DRZ 400 incremental changes of, hey, it's got new graphics. They've actually made changes. That being said, this is a single overhead cam 450cc motor that is cranking out 63 horsepower. That's kind of bonkers when you ask me. Once again, sticking with the theme. Now, when I said incremental changes, KTM they tilted the engine 2 degrees back in the chassis on this. So that helps with to lower the sprocket angle, and it also helps center the mass. And we've got a photo here. The next photo we actually have of that engine. When you look at this is a lightweight hunk of aluminum that cranks out, as I said, 63 horsepower out of a 450cc motor, and it's built to last. I mean, they've done great with these types of motors for decades, KTM has. So to see this thing come out like this, to me, is absolutely awesome. So the next part actually shows up in this last picture here, which is probably my favorite photo of the bike. And it's not because of what's in the photo. This is the map selector switch, is what KTM calls it. Now, this is a quote from the website. So map number 1 gives you linear predictable power. If you select map number 2, it gives it full beans. That is a quote from KTM on their website. To me, gives it full beans. How can you not like a bike that is described as that? The other thing is you can toggle between traction control, launch control, and the quick shifter functions here. This has been an option before. Now it is built in and standard on every single one of these supermoto bikes. To me, anytime they say gives it full beans, I get excited. How about you, Jackie? So, Jackie, your mic, unfortunately, has not gotten the beans back yet. I'm assuming from the look on your face, you appreciated gives it full beans, because we're not talking about baked beans. We are talking about tire spinning, raw horsepower. So that, to me, is good stuff there. What I'm going to talk about next is we will jump over to, speaking of wild and crazy horsepower bikes, the Isle of Man TT. Now, there's been some both good and bad that comes out of this race. And with it going on for the past week or so, anytime there is a TT/road race, you're going to get situations like this where guys have both tires up in the air and they are just barely off of a wall. So bad things can happen. But what you get is some absolute craziness. One of the big things in the craziness here is John McGuinness, and we've got a photo of him here. Somehow this guy has done this for more than 20 years, and he still manages to look probably younger than I do. If we can get that photo up of him here, because he's going to be in the red, white, and blue, if I remember correctly. There he is. So, once again, he's got a childish look on his face. The guy is 50 years old and still does bananas stuff, bonkers stuff. I should have used that word again. When I say bonkers stuff, the next slide that we have here is a picture of John doing what he does best. And as a matter of fact, at one point he was at the top of his group. No, he doesn't have a flat tire. That is him absolutely flattening the tire, coming off of a ridge as he lands. So as someone that also does some photography in that, going to see the Isle of Man is kind of a dream of mine, just because of the fact I'd love to capture a moment like this, because this is absolute bonkersness on camera. So another shot of bonkersness that we have on camera is the last slide that I have here today. It is Peter Hickman. He had an average speed of 133.220 miles an hour around this course. He was the first one that did the course this year in under 17 minutes. Anytime you're doing, this is higher than I get in probably most cases on my DRZ. And he's doing it probably at 130 miles an hour. The bananasness out of the TT, the stories that come out of the TT are why we absolutely love it. And if you haven't ever checked it out, I guess I just got to say, go look it up, watch 5-10 minutes of it. The epic stories that come out of this are like no other you're ever going to find in racing, because these are people that in a lot of cases are, I don't want to call them weekend racers, but they are not racing every weekend the way MotoGP, the way Moto America, the way World Superbike guys are. These are people that in a lot of cases have other jobs. Absolutely amazing. The stories in it and just drive me absolutely bananas and will keep me glued to the internet watching videos for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I'm surprised I really get anything done. I think I hear Jackie back online. What do you think, Jackie? Is this going to be your next thing that you're going to take on, or no?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I don't know if you can hear me or not. My headset, yep. I think quit. I think it just decided it's not going to work anymore. So I have you on my regular microphone. Hopefully it sounds okay. But, I agree with you. Isle of Man is one of my most favorite times of year. I absolutely love the racing. It is so much drama. It is so crazy. I love the photo that you showed earlier of that rear tire just being absolutely just crushed under the weight of this epic wheelie that he is throwing. it's just one of my most favorite races of the year. It is
Yeah.
always just a roller coaster ride. That all being said, is also incredibly dangerous. There has been several tragedies this week already.
Yes.
Unfortunately, people do lose their lives during this race. It's just very, very, very dramatic and a very, very, very tough road course. Anyway, I do love watching this race. I agree with you, bringing some of these awesome photos to the show today. It is such a cool thing. I also wanted to take a second and go back to your earlier comments talking smack about Harley-Davidson on the grid at Moto America. Of course they were leaking oil. It's Harley-Davidson. Come on now. They were marking their territory. Isn't that what everybody says about their Harleys? But that all being said, all jokes aside, we still have, I think, a handful of days for the Isle of Man TT. They are live streaming it. So if you are missing out on
Yes.
any of this action, you go click on over and go check out some of the live streaming that's going on from the Isle of Man. Now, my second story for today, while we are talking about all things going on over in the UK, a story that just hit this week that I thought was interesting. It feels like this story has been going on for forever. And this is the story
It
of
has.
Triumph Motorcycle teasing out this motocross enduro bike. I mean, they have been launching this thing for 2 years now, Josh? This has been going
Correct.
on forever. And I keep seeing these press releases, but no bike. No bike, no spy photos, no behind the scenes, just really good press releases. And I am just waiting to see this dang bike. So let's go on ahead and talk about it a little bit. I love this quote that came from this week's press release. It's been freaking awesome, man. Off-Road Legends talk developing Triumph's new motocross and enduro range. That is a quote from Mr. Ricky Carmichael himself over, he is now currently representing the folks over at Triumph. So in late July 2021, Triumph shocked the off-road world by announcing a range of competition motocross and enduro bikes were in the works. Not only this, but they were also being developed by Ricky Carmichael and Ivan Cervantes, two of the greatest dirt racers in history. At the time, Triumph said an announcement of the timetable for launch, plus a reveal the bikes would follow in the coming months. However, details have remained hidden ever since. So this has been going on for forever. They're all competition off-road motorcycles. Steve Sargent from Triumph said we have a range of motocross and a range of enduro motorcycles in development. The enduro motorcycles will be road registerable, but their motocross bikes will be pure off-road performance motorcycles. There will be a range of engine sizes. I am not going to reveal today what those sizes will be. So I still am waiting on pins and needles. I've got another great slide showing the history of Triumph in dirt bikes. I mean, it makes sense. They do come from a history of epic dirt bikes, a la Steve McQueen and all that jazz. And there was talk years ago from the folks at Triumph about them developing a smaller displacement motorcycle. I don't know if you knew that or not, Josh. About 8 to 10 years ago, there was talk about relaunching a little bit of a smaller displacement bike from the folks over at Triumph. So it never came to be. And I'm wondering if this is the pivot. If they decided instead of doing a smaller displacement road-going motorcycle, a la like a Tiger Cub, they decided to pivot and do dirt bikes instead. I'm not really sure. What do you think, Josh?
Did you ever have a big project in school? And you just kept telling your teacher, no, it's going to be great. And there was deadlines along. Yeah, there was deadlines along the way, and you missed most of those deadlines, and you're kind of like, no, this project is going to be awesome. It's the best project you've ever seen. I know how my teacher feels. That's kind of where I'm at with this. Is I am excited to see this, but I'm kind of like I'd like to give me a teaser. Someone needs to show a spy photo. With all the cell phones that have cameras out there now, why have we seen absolutely nothing? Are they riding this thing indoors? I'm kind of yes. Yeah.
Motorcycling is not at keeping secrets. This is officially the best kept secret in all of motorcycling. Correct. Because you're right. where are they riding this thing? Like in a closet somewhere, indoors, with like the windows taped over? I mean, I just can't get over it. And I think today I just wanted to vent about it, basically, Josh. I just wanted to vent about where is this motorcycle? Why am I continually seeing press releases? Why is Ricky Carmichael saying how freaking awesome it is, and yet there's no bike?
Someone out there that's watching has to know something. Please tell us. Please tell us.
Please. I'm asking super nicely. Please tell us. I'm dying to see it. I can't wait to see it. It has been the best kept secret in motorcycling, and I officially cannot wait. So
correct.
That is what's going on this week in motorcycling. What do you got to say out there? Have you seen these spy photos? Do you have some behind the scenes that we just are not finding on the internet? Feel free to go ahead, stick in the comments, let us know, and make sure you go back and watch all of our previous episodes. We do this show single week, and it lives here forever on the Facebook and out there on the YouTube. You can always go back and watch previous episodes. As always, thanks for clicking, liking, and sharing all of our videos. We will see you next week.